For the third year in a row, President Trump skipped out on the White House Correspondents' Dinner last night and instead held one of his signature rallies. The president addressed supporters in Wisconsin and criticized the decades-old Correspondents' Dinner. During the rally, Trump also slammed his opponents and blasted the Mueller investigation.
Liberal Democrats put all their hopes behind their collusion delusion, which has now been totally exposed to the world as a complete and total fraud.
Wisconsin will be a key state, of course, in the 2020 election. Trump won that state back in 2016, part of the blue wall that crumbled. Democrats, though, however, swept all statewide elections in Wisconsin in the midterms last year.
The 2020 presidential race continues to heat up. The divide among Democrats on whether or not to impeach President Trump and the administration's response to congressional investigations. Only just a few of some key topics.
Never a slow news week in D.C. Joining us now, ABC News political analyst Matt Dowd to break it all down. Seemed to be the big news of the week, shocking absolutely no one, of course, was Joe Biden's entry into the race. Good intro video, made Charlottesville kind of the centerpiece. Good fundraising numbers on day one, but still can't seem to come up with a satisfying answer on Anita Hill from 30 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I thought his sort of overall message of we're fighting for the soul of America is a very good message to operate under. But the senator or the former vice president has to deal with this problem that he has related to Justice Thomas hearings and Anita Hill. He keeps apologizing, like often happens, I've said, in a relationship, which is, I'm sorry your feelings got hurt.
The passive
I'm
apology.
sorry things happened. Yes. It never is accepted well. And I think he's just, and all politicians, I've often advised them, they think that apologizing is a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. And he's much better if he just goes straight forward, does it, and moves on.
Why the video? Why a video to say you're running? I know that people were flummoxed over that.
Well, well, he proceeded to go with a series of rollouts and all that. I think each of the candidates has to decide something different. Obviously, it went viral.
Yeah.
It's available on YouTube and everywhere else on it.
Because it could carry.
And he's going to do a series of appearances this week. He's going to be in Iowa coming up. So I think it's just every candidate's different strategy of how to present themselves to the public.
Also, the president this week doubled down on his comments after Charlottesville. He reopened that wound in response to the Biden rollout. Can you explain what his thinking is on that? To say, I answered the question perfectly when he infamously said good people on both, or fine people on both sides.
He seems to, the president, talk about another person with a great incapacity to say he made a mistake or ever did anything wrong in this. Said that, obviously, in the aftermath of Charlottesville. And then now has gotten himself so backed in the corner he can't get himself out of it other than trying to explain it a new way. And his new way that he's explaining it is that he was saying that General Lee, Robert E. Lee, on the other side was a good general, was a great general. Well, then, of course, he was fact-checked on that, which is most of the people at the rally in Charlottesville were saying awful negative things about Jews, and that's why they organized.
It wasn't about a statue.
No, it wasn't about.
Or a general.
It was using a statue as a way to then push this sort of white supremacism, white nationalism. And then, not the least of which is General Lee fought against the Union and owned multiple numbers of slaves. So it's not an argument, I think, that's very safe for the president.
What about the call for impeachment? Elizabeth Warren, we should impeach him, reprehensible, to loud silence.
Democrats
arguably,
are deeply split.
What's going on with that? Will that go anywhere, or will it die down?
Well, the fascinating thing to me about that is I think voices on all sides of this are probably good in this debate to sort of people push for impeachment. They say the evidence is there. I think Nancy Pelosi is really smart about this, and she's playing it well. She knows full well that impeachment won't happen, or conviction in the Senate won't happen, I should say, unless it's bipartisan. So they're going to proceed to hearings. Whether or not it's under the guise of impeachment or not, they're going to proceed to hearings to investigate more, to gather more evidence. And if in the gathering of that evidence, it begins to sort of adjust the public, where more Republicans are now supportive of it. I mean, that's the thing. Everybody asks about the Democrats are divided. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? We forget to say the Republicans are united against doing anything to hold the president accountable for anything Robert Mueller said. Robert Mueller laid out tons of evidence on obstruction of justice. The Republicans have been silent.
And what's interesting to me is now the president said explicitly, we're going to fight all subpoenas. He's basically telling Congress, whether it's calling Don McGahn to testify or it's my tax returns, you're getting nothing. But the law is not necessarily on his side. We could actually get to the point where people who are subpoenaed are fined or arrested if they ignore the subpoena. We're getting to a very weird place.
Exceedingly weird place, because we've never seen this before. We've never seen where there's complete clarity in the law about what the Congress can and can't do, which is obviously supposed to perform its function of checks and balances, and the executive branch basically ignored or say, I'm not going to go along with this. And that includes the Secretary of the Treasury related to Donald Trump's tax returns. And the law is very explicit. It says the Secretary of Treasury shall turn over it, not will
Period.
or can or might.
Could.
It's shall. And so he's another one on the list. The Secretary of the Treasury is on the list. I think we are in a moment in time where we're going to all have to reevaluate what does it actually mean when we have various branches of government, and what are the checks and balances that we have. If an executive branch can ignore a congressional branch like this, it sets us on a path that we have to be very concerned about.
People have often used the term the last 2 years, constitutional crisis. This situation, though, now seems like the best example of an actual crisis where, like you said, one branch is ignoring a co-equal other part of the government.
I actually think it's the better word is constitutional rot, actually, instead of crisis, which is that we haven't strengthened all of these institutions enough over the last few years so that we're in a moment like this, that they can stand up and stand tall and stand firm. So I think we're not in we're in a crazy concerning situation, but it's a question about how rotted are the institutions of the Constitution that we're not able to push them in an instant like this.
But it has to do with the humans who are paying attention
All
to the branches of government
Politics
and the law.
is all human,
Right.
both for us and how we participate and the leaders.
All right, thank you.